All right, the Mandalorian keeps on trucking, despite several odds against it all of a sudden. Okay, last episode, yes, Baby Yoda ate the frog eggs from the pink frog lady. If you understand amphibians and what she clearly appeared to be, and they even said it, that her mate was going to need to fertilize those eggs. But she needed transport to get to him, and that's where the Mandalorian came in. And so they were not quite, I mean, it's a living thing, but they weren't quite little frog babies yet. You know, and of course he was still bad for eating them. He's, he was a dumb innocent aspect. And of course, Mandalorian, no, you don't do that. But oh, good Lord. And then there was this Twitter battle with Pablo Hidalgo, whom I don't have any affection for, and how he treated fans and the whole sequel trilogy ordeal and all that. But he made this point, and some feminists got mad at him. I don't know if she's a part of Lucasfilm. I can't even remember. And said, this is why we need to have women in the writing room so they can have compassion and feeling for life and all this sort of stuff, because men don't, Yeah, well, she's a feminist. I'm sure she has all kinds of problems about embryos being destroyed. Yeah, well, whatever. So, that was one episode. Let's move on to the next one. And already there's a problem, because Katie Sackhoff makes an appearance here, her and another lady, to play female Mandalorians. And so he finally gets to meet some Mandalorians here and all that. And but there's a problem. They have boob armor. You see, modern feminism absolutely despises femininity. So the fact that, and they had a man with them, so he was another male Mandalorian, but he was kind of in the background here. But the armor was shaped for the female form because, well, they're female. So, it's a problem, whatever. So that's just going to continue. Meanwhile, once again got it trending that they hate Gina Carano, which just makes me love her all the more. So enough of the crap. The actual show, once again, pretty good. This time, kind of taking a leave of the typical cowboy adventure, and now we end up in pirate territory where Mandalorian had to go, or he thought he needed to go on ship. Of course, they're pirates, so they tricked him. He had to drop on him, and they were after the baby to probably sell to the Empire and all that. It's an aquatic world, and that's where we see a lot of these creatures that we've seen in other elements of Star Wars, most notably Admiral Akbar's people. So they're on that planet. So that's where Pink Frog Lady was. I guess she's from there originally, and so that's where you get all the amphibians and aquatic peoples. So it's a trap, of course, and then Mando almost loses it. But then here come his fellow Mandalorians, and they knew he was there. So there was a mysterious lady who was looking at him, and I'm not sure about her. If that's an insinuation that there's more to her than there is to the other Mandalorians, I don't know. She was in this hooded, at least it looked like her, and then she disappeared, seemingly, and then there she shows up. She's with the Mandalorians, and she's a Mandalorian herself, so, whatever. But Katie Sackhoff was clearly the leader of that group, and we get some details concerning the Dark Saber. She's after it. She's a part of a sect of Mandalorians that want to retake their home world of Mandalore and restore the Mandalorian order and all this sort of stuff, and give some more story and world details here that explain some things. Of course, Mandalorian, he keeps saying he can't take off his helmet, it's forbidden, and all that sort of thing. Whereas first he had the fake Mandalorian in the Marshal, where he takes the helmet off, and then you have these three Mandalorians who immediately take their helmets off, and he's like, what? He assumes they're people who stole Mandalorian armor as well, and no, and they say, oh, he must be one of those zealots. So his tribe of Mandalorians are part of people who hold to the old code and old ways, and they're a bit, they're zealots about this. And whereas other Mandalorians have split off and have kind of abandoned some of those early customs and whatnot, and that's who they are. And she's part of her movement is to retake Mandalore and all that, and she's collecting weapons, and they bring in the Mandalorian on this in exchange for information as to where he might find the Jedi. So it's all cool stuff, in that element of Star Wars and stuff is detailed in this episode. But it also explains this sort of thing, because when we met Jango Fett, Bubba's father, or clone daddy, the original Fett, in the prequel series, he took off his helmet all the time. So it was not always something. Of course, Bubba Fett, we never saw him take it off. But now we knew, thanks to the prequel trilogy, what he looked like. We saw him as a little boy. Of course, he would grow up to look like Jango because he's a clone. And then, of course, we saw his old self walking around in the Tatooine desert, mysteriously at the end of that episode. So we'll get more details there. There's, I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but there is rumors there'll be a miniseries about Boba Fett, and so maybe that'll kind of spin off out of Mandalorian. So, in the end, they had this big battle with, there's still some Imperials trying to hold on to what's left of the Empire, and they run into those guys again, so you get stormtroopers and all that. Even though they put in the line that they can't shoot worth a damn, they actually could shoot pretty good. It's just the Mandalorians have some pretty tough armor. And they duke it out and take the ship. And once again, we see Gus Fring, who actually has the Darksaber. Katie's character, who I'm sure we'll meet again, wants it, is seeking it, and so on and so forth. If you know better, I have fallen behind in watching Clone Wars and all that stuff. I'm somewhere in the middle of season 2, so I don't know if Katie Sackhoff's character plays into that. If she was a character introduced in that, I don't know. And all that, but they do mention a very important character from that series, and so she, after all is said and done, he lives up to his side of the bargain and helps them take the ship. And there's something insinuating maybe Katie's a bit sinister here, or her ends will come in conflict with his at some point, but they end on good terms. It's just she offers him this deal, says we're going to get the weapons from this ship. They end up, no, I want the whole ship, and he's like, hey, wait, I wasn't, that kind of thing. But in the end, she does reveal, says, all right, she sends him off to this planet. You'll find the Jedi Ahsoka Tano there. So there we go. That's how Ahsoka will come in, who will be played by Rosario Dawson, and this will be the much older adult Ahsoka, and we'll see where she's been since, Clone Wars and the Civil War, so there's quite a few decades here, and we'll see what she's been up to, and, it broadens the story more. So, as for the Darksaber, of course, Gus Fring, I'm forgetting he's Moff something, I'm forgetting his time, but he's always going to be Gus Fring to me, because, man, that was a great role that he did in Breaking Bad, and currently with Better Call Saul. So, I'm enjoying this series. It's fun. There's a lot of cool space action and really cool scenes of the different worlds and all this stuff. And we're seeing like the fish people and all that, and space flight and the damaged ship he's in. And it's kind of humorous here and there. It's still messed up, even though he paid way too much for the repairs he got. It's still in bad shape. I don't know that he should be kicking that thing into hyperspace, but so they're on their way. We'll see what happens next week, whether he actually does come into contact with Ahsoka, but it's sooner or later, he most certainly will. And boy, the look on her face when she sees Baby Yoda, I wonder how that's going to go. Because at some point, some secret cabal within the Empire got a hold of some Yoda DNA, apparently. It's what it looks like, and cloned him in the hopes that they could somehow harness the secrets of the Force, which they themselves don't understand. They've lost the Emperor, so they don't have it anymore. And it looks like they're trying to do that. And they want that child. They don't want to kill the child. They want to use the child in order to manipulate the Force for themselves. And possibly, I'm thinking that's their plot, to restore the Empire's power, because without Palpatine's dark side power, well, they've kind of lost a necessary element. So they might want to use little baby Yoda and turn him to the dark side. So, just my guess, of course. So, there you go. Mandalorian, the Heiress, another pretty good episode of Mandalorian. All right. Thank you for watching and listening. Slay. Why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores and have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.